My stomach hurts a bit. I'm pretty tired and I'm probably going to go back to sleep. I've been trying to figure out the Google OneDrive and I'm just too tired for it. I did get plenty of sleep last night, sort of. Um, of course, I was up pretty late going through stuff and trying to dig out stuff I need. I gotta try to get a computer that hasn't worked since I got it back. I gotta get it up and running somehow. No clue what to do. Um, then, of course, I got the little Google OneDrive thing here in the corner, and I click on it, and it says there's a sync issue on OneDrive. Click to learn more about this issue and how to resolve it. And then it says no access permissions to the item. It appears that you do not have access permissions to the item. Ensure that you have the right permissions to allow the items to sync. Okay. Obviously, I don't know how to fix that. And maybe later on, right? Um, Obviously, there was a lot of stuff that I really needed to get done. Um, of course, life is what happens while you're busy making plans. And when people got families and situation comes up, whatever it may be, you just got to deal with it, even if it's frustrating, even if it prevents you from doing the things that you really need to get done. But the other thing is, kids are great. They really are. They laugh, and that just somehow makes things better, even if only for a few moments. Um, well, I got to be productive at least this weekend. Or well, I guess it's not the weekend anymore. Um, but my little sister came over and she helped me out with stuff, and of course the kids were pretty quiet, which is excellent. Um, I had to wake their dad up at the butt crack early because my car wouldn't start. So he drove down and gave me a jump. So he ended up taking a nap, and I got to cook the kids some dinner, which is totally cool. Um, really, all kids are tornadoes, but there's a big difference between being a well behaved tornado and the situation with Amy Kingery's kids there in um, Rawlins, Wyoming. But also completely different situations. In Rawlins, Wyoming, it was a stressful situation for everybody. I mean, them kids there were uprooted from their family, their mom and whatnot. And according to Josh Rayborn, they actually wrote a letter to the judge in Rawlins, Wyoming, saying they didn't want to go back to their moms. I wouldn't either. My mom chose her drugs over her kids. So goes life, right? Same thing with Amy. If you can't get off the drugs, you don't deserve your kids. Straight up. Obviously, I was going through my own personal hell during that period of time. Brianna was going through her own personal hell during that period of time. And of course, the kids, they're not in any better of a position. And that sucks. And don't get me wrong, they definitely had a few good laughs. But it's different. You know, a lot of people are going through their own personal BS. But it was good to hear genuine laughter. And that's where much of the difference really is. And then when the kids are happy, that does say something about the parents. Even if they don't get along, or if they do get along, whether they're together or separated, you can pretty well judge how that child is doing by how happy they are. I don't have to agree with either parent. I don't have to disagree with either parent to know that, well, sometimes it takes a scary situation to scare people straight, I suppose. Sometimes you make a mistake so big that you got to rethink your life and readjust your situation and rethink your situation. Now, I had to do that before Natalie was killed. I had to go, all right, here's the situation that I'm in. This is what I'm dealing with. Obviously, talking nicely to people isn't working. Obviously, asking for help isn't working. I'm getting talked over. I don't even get to explain the situation. People are so busy talking. Now I make sure that I am heard. Now, obviously, there's a lot of stuff that people just want to pretend doesn't exist. Like if you pretend it's not happening, it magically makes it okay. And it don't. When you can get your kids to do as they're asked without smacking them, you're doing an excellent job, in my personal opinion. And, well, the parents of the wonderful, wonderful excuses for human beings, well, they're obviously doing something right. Them kids are happy. They're not getting smacked. They follow instructions well. They even helped clean up the house yesterday before becoming cyclones yet again. They didn't throw things. They weren't yelling at each other and being hateful. They weren't fighting. They weren't doing any of that. I think that's important. Um, like I said, I'm still pretty tired. I'm not sure if I said everything correct and properly, but I suppose I should probably end the video and try to lay down and take a nap for a bit and get back to figuring out the Google OneDrive. I tried to do the Google OneDrive on this thing. It says complete setup by installing apps. Get the most out of your device. And I've been indigestion. I've been trying to figure that part out. Of course, my sister showed me how to do the whole picture thing on this and how to zoom it out and make it bigger. And well, I already knew how to zoom it out. She showed me how to make the what do they call it? Aspect ratio. Is that right? But the other part is that when it asked if I wanted to sync everything, and now I'm trying to send stuff to Marcia, and it says that I have to oh yes, I did buy some. My Google account storage is now 2 terabytes. It's got 17 gigabytes saved in it. Obviously, I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm sure that there's a way that I'm pretty sure I can plug this into my computer and hopefully I should probably thank the Dual County Sheriff's Department for destroying all the evidence on my USB drives, because since everything's full, I can take my USB drives, hopefully take enough of the videos off of my computer to make enough room for anything on the tablet. And that's hopefully. Also, hopefully I'm able to connect with, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Uh, oh. Oh yeah, my back doesn't hurt. It's fine. So, I guess I'm gonna get back to it. If my sister is able to come today, that'd be great, because then we can actually go through evidence. There's a lot of stuff on my computer that I do want her to be able to see. People were fine with harassing me. People were fine with threatening me. People were fine with assaulting me. And through all this, there's been a lot of different parents that I've had to deal with who promise to help and then use their kids as an excuse not to. But then there's also parents like Candace Bondurant. According to her, Haxton Deputy Michael Beard harassed her at work and harassed her on her way to take her kids to school over a 911 call that I had made when one of Natalie's ex-stepmothers had pocket dialed me. It didn't sound like a pocket dial, but whatever, right? Now, was that an actual pocket dial, or was she playing head games? It don't really matter. The fact is that the event did happen. The fact is that I was more worried about Candace and her kids and Natalie's ex-stepmother. I was more worried about them than I was scared of the cops. I cursed a lot at Candace. I mean, if those things are true, she needed to come forward about them. If they're not true, she shouldn't have said them. And I did record a conversation with her mom, of course. Her mom didn't like it. Nobody likes it. Well, maybe you should have told the truth. Maybe you should have come forward to begin with. A lot of people were real cruel to me about the GoFundMe's. Like they got this idea in their head that I had gotten millions of dollars from these GoFundMe's. Nope, I didn't get a single penny. Not one. One of them was started by Candace Bondurant, and there were funds put into it, but I never received them. And then, of course, Cara Rogers also started one. And I had people saying, hey, this Cara Rogers lady, you need to look out for her. She's a scammer. She's a scammer. She's been in trouble for credit card fraud. And of course, that came from a crazy lady who was catfishing me, calling herself, what was it, Layla Johnson. And don't get me wrong, she was able to hook me up with resources. I mean, there's a piece of paper here on my floor, pretty close. Hmm. Uh, Let me see. They should be in this pile here. And I'll try to show it, I guess. It's from the Super 8 in Longmont. It shows what room I was in. And it shows, is that it? That's it. This place right here, I do want to say Layla Johnson was able to get a social worker in, I believe, New York or New Jersey to rent me a room. And it was at the Super 8. And of course, there's the confirmation number and the account number and all of that stuff. And, well, I had a black man with me. Apparently, that's not okay in Longmont, Colorado. The guy at the Super 8, despite the fact that we rented 2 beds, we rented a room with 2 beds so that I could have a guest. And then, of course, the Asian man who was working at the counter wanted to be a racist asshole. So there was a guy named Brian Townsend who was helping me at the time. And Brian Townsend, they were wanting to accuse him of dealing drugs. Those guys dealing drugs, they're not dealing drugs. Mark Townsend came to help me. He also goes by Chaos the Misfit. We just called him Chaos. I called him when I was in Washington State because that guy did a lot. When I was in Longmont and it was snowing and my back was screwed up, Brian Townsend carried my stuff. I mean, seriously, I felt completely like crap for basically using him as a pack mule. And he went to a lot of different places with me and carried my stuff. How did I repay him? Well, when they were being racist at the Super 8 and they said that he's got to go, I had to make a choice. Do I keep my room so that I can work on the things that I need to and ask Brian to go away, despite the fact that it was completely and totally racist BS? Or do I give up the room and me and Brian go trouncing around Longmont with him being my pack mule? Now, the Super 8 motel that we went to, it's Super 8 Longmont / Twin Peaks. It's at 2446 North Main Street in Longmont, Colorado. Now, who is it that rented the room this time? This is Dan Fabert. Dan Fabert paid for a couple extra days at that room. Now, this Layla Johnson lady pulled a lot of BS. And of course, Dan Fabert knew pretty much the whole time that this crazy Layla Johnson lady was not who she said she was. Now, she had done quite a bit for me, but the fact is, she's not a real person. She stole somebody else's pictures off of their account and pretended to be somebody that they're not. And of course, I'm still pissed off at him about that. Like, you knew that. You could have let me know. I had to find out from some nut job on a web sleuth group going, hey, that picture is really a lady named, and I never bothered to look the lady up. I did get a hold of Dan to let him know, hey, dude, you should have told me. You should have let me know. Now, of course, I had to do a bunch of crazy stuff to try to get law enforcement to do their jobs. And when they finally wanted to pretend to do their jobs, they did call up Dan Fabert. There's a phone call on this YouTube channel with Dan Fabert about the situation. He said that they did call him, and he didn't bother to tell them shit. Layla Johnson was just fucking with my head the whole time. Same thing with Kara Johnson Miles. Now, she wasn't just fucking with my head. She was also fucking with the Bollingers' heads. Now, that might be untrue. There's a possibility that Rochelle Shelley Campbell and Danica Garner were working together to pull that BS. There's also a possibility that that lady was, like most web sleuths, not interested in the truth, just interested in stirring up the mud and creating drama. Anyway, I got a lot of stuff to go through, and obviously I'm tired. If I'm not able to get to sleep, I'll get back to this stuff. I got a lot of pictures to take. Hopefully, if my sister's able to come help today, we'll be able to discuss some of the things that we couldn't discuss. We'll also be able to actually go through a lot of the evidence on my computer, and she can actually verify that it exists. There's a lot of stuff with, phone numbers and social security numbers and stuff like that. And so obviously that's not stuff that I can post up here. I did have a conversation with a lady last night that, we had a few issues previously. And of course, I do love her. I do hope the best for her. And if she needs my help, she's probably going to get it. I think that's fair. That's the thing about repenting. That's thinking about, well, she had said a while ago that she was going to take the time to listen to me and about how this situation had affected me. And that was, I want to say, over a year ago. And last night we got to talk to each other for about an hour. And I got to, of course, we didn't actually talk, it was in typing. But, she was a lot more receptive than usual. And she was willing to take the time to understand how her decisions did affect me and affect my living situation and also to affect my safety. And the fact that she was receptive to that really does make all the difference in the world. Also, like, them kids are so happy. They really are. And that does say a lot for the parents. The kids are happy. They're fed. They've got manners. They're not getting beaten on. They're not getting screamed at. They're not getting cursed at. They're pretty well adjusted. Scott DaCosta threatening people with CPS for helping me, that's not okay. I'm not going to tolerate it. I'm not going to allow it. And anybody who wants to be pissed off at me for speaking out about that, for saying something about that, this affected my life greatly. And not just my life, it affected the lives of others. It affected people who were trying to help me. It affected people who hadn't done anything wrong. That's messed up. I mean, not to say that they're perfect, not by any means. I'm a complete and total screw up. I mean, truly, I screw up a lot. There's a lot of times where I'm talking here on my YouTube channel and I'll go back through, make sure that everything is screened, and I'm like, fuck. I said Waylon Lolatai when I was talking about Sheriff DaCosta. Maybe I should type down in the bottom, I made a mistake. 18 minutes and something seconds in, I say Waylon Lolatai. I was obviously talking about Scott DaCosta, and yeah, I screwed up. That right there means a lot to me. You guys got no idea. When you admit that you screwed up, instead of trying to cover it up and hide it and play victim after you screw up so greatly. Now, it's pretty obvious that Leslie Snell intentionally attempted to give my number out, knowing full well the safety issue that she was creating for me, knowing full well the harassment that I had already gotten over the phone, being there and present in the room when I was explaining to them about all of the restricted calls. She was there in the room. It's also Dual County Courthouse. It's tiny. If you're downstairs talking, you can hear them on the second floor. So obviously, Leslie Snell, being literally right across the hall with the doors open, is going to hear everything, even if she's not in the room. she also processes all of their paperwork. So she was able to abuse her position and her knowledge of the situations with, of course, Robert Warnick, who is a friend of hers, and Scott DaCosta, as well as, well, pretty much any paperwork that goes through that office goes through her hands. The officers openly speak about cases with her, around her, in her presence, and she intentionally tried to create a safety issue, knowing full well what she was doing. Now, a lot of people, they don't know the full story. They weren't there for the full thing, and they're like, oh, well, she was just doing her job. No, 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 no. See, she was definitely more aware than that. Now, one of these parents, he told me, you know what? My stuff with all of that is over, so I'm not afraid of you being here. I'm not afraid of you, of consequences for me if you're here, which is a lot different than last year. Mm. Anyway, I've been yapping for about 30 minutes, so I'll see you when I wake up.